We will start this evening with our first introduction will be for Eddie Jakes. To introduce Eddie Jakes is his lifetime doubles partner as a junior, Estes Carver, who grew up in Alabama, now lives in Durham, North Carolina. Gotten to know Estes pretty well with phone calls and emails, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy what he has to say. He's full of life. In 1992, his family was the family of the year for USTA Alabama. So, Estes, at this time, would you come introduce us to our buddy Eddie?
Let me get my stuff right here, sorry. Thank you, Jeff. It is my incredible honor to be here to get to share this experience as a tennis player in Alabama, and also to talk about one of the greatest people I've had the pleasure to know in my life. I met Eddie when I was 14. I had just moved from Ohio to Alabama, so I was in culture shock. And I found out we shared a birthday, and then I also found out that he had moved from Cincinnati, so we kind of had some commonalities, and then his mom had suggested that we practice together. So we got out there, and I got the first of what was to be a series of beatings for the next 4 or 5 years, 25. And but he's the reason I quit tennis and became an actor. I remember the first day we practiced now, and it's sort of interesting to look back at it and realize I was across the net from a guy who won his first tournament at 5 years old, and the 10 and unders was 8 when he was #1 in Alabama for the rest of junior tennis. Began competing in the Junior Davis Cup team by age 10. He was competing nationally at 14. He was #1 in the South, and also stopped to win his high school state doubles title with Huntsville High. His coach called him the Rock. I remember that. At 16, he was a finalist at national clay courts. Also won high school state singles and doubles. He was ranked 6th in the nation in the 16s. He won in the South in the 18s. Following year, he won national clay courts in the 18s and joined the U.S. national team. The same year, he was a semifinalist at the Junior U.S. Open. Jumped to 27 in the world and 3 in the nation, beating the #1 ranked junior in the world. He then was a bronze medalist at the Junior Olympics, won a men's Southern Open on his week off, and was the #1 college recruit in the nation. He played at Georgia from 93 to 97 on a full scholarship. Senior year, he was the SEC individual singles champion. He was an NCAA All-American. He was two-time first team All-SEC. He's ranked 14th of all time in singles wins at Georgia with 113 victories. That list of people is very distinguished. I abridged that list because I'd be up here the whole time if I tried to say everything. Or that's all I'd be doing. You guys would get dizzy. We had a lot of laughs growing up on the very same tennis courts that are now part of the new amazing place he's created and reinvented, Athletic Club Alabama, where dreams are coming true for a lot of juniors and players of all ages. Yeah, I look back and I realize how much I've learned from watching Eddie. Just a winner in so many ways, and attitude, work ethic. Such a fun guy. It's contagious and infectious to everybody he comes into contact with on and off the court. I had the honor and privilege of playing doubles with Eddie. In high school, we were 36-0, which is something I'm very proud of, mostly because of his serve return. I snuck one in every now and then. He's a great sportsman. I remember his mom and my mom used to always say, talk with the racket, not your mouth. And at one of the first, I think it was the first tournament I went to there, it was at the Alabama qualifying. I was standing next to the kid who was about to play. Eddie wasn't there, this kid was talking a lot of smack about him, which happened a lot because Eddie beat a lot of people. And I overheard this and I was pissed, so I went and I told Eddie about it. And Eddie didn't say anything, he just kind of smirked. And I was like, but that doesn't, didn't get a rise out of you. And then I go to, I'm going to watch it, because after all this, I'm going to see this thing. He just kind of was walking on the court, kind of quietly said to me, time me. 28 minutes counting the warm-up. I've seen guys mistreat him and cheat him and be verbally abusive to him when he was playing up as a kid, because it was intimidating for the adults sometimes. And he just talked to his racket. He never made a bad call, ever. He won the game. That was what was so impressive. His weapon was the game, which is probably why he won the Arthur Ashe Sportsmanship Award, the SEC Sportsmanship Award, the National Collegiate Indoor Sportsmanship Award, the Intercollegiate Tennis Association Sportsmanship Award. He's a member of the U.S. National Collegiate Team. He's also a 4-time academic honor roll with a degree in business administration and marketing. I think this is interesting. I truly believe if he wanted to stay on the tour, he would have been a huge success. But I think he just had bigger dreams than that. I think he wanted to be a great teacher and coach and a great husband and father and a great leader for the sport. And he's accomplished all of that and then some. Passes on his gifts to so many players that he comes into contact with. Comments from his students. He really cares about me. He notices the things that seem to be little but make a huge difference in your game. He makes you work hard but is always encouraging. He focuses on you the whole time you're with him. He's fun and he's such a good guy. Always fun, always positive. I struggle a lot with depression and negativity as a player. And Eddie just turned it into laughs. We had so many laughs. He coached 1 year at Randolph and was coach of the year. Took him to the finals of state. He was a zonal coach. Started clubs in other places until he came to be co-owner of Athletic Club Alabama, where he established Huntsville Elite Academy Tennis, where over 50% of Alabama's qualifier finalists come from. Many players of his have gone on to scholarships at Gonzaga, Princeton, Swanee, North Carolina, Dartmouth, Lipscomb, Newberry, UTC, Birmingham Southern, Wingate, on and on. He gives back to his students in a lot of ways. He started his philanthropic duties cheering many events for the Sigma Chi fraternity in Georgia, and then at his club in Huntsville, he's raised significant funds for breast cancer, American Heart Association, Alzheimer's. He sponsors food drives at the club. So the board of the Alabama Tennis Association provides free court time as well as donates his time to help run many events, donates support to the community when they need him. He supports league play all over. He loves to grow the game through his philanthropy and entrepreneurship. And somewhere in that time, he also coaches Olga Voitsova, who's been a career high at 35 in the world. He credits his parents, Ed and Wayne, Bill Tim, Hugh Thompson, John Fraser, Coach Manny Diaz, and Jamie Miller as the main influences on him as a player. And I think I was a key factor in his confidence on the practice court. Manny Diaz said, Georgia's coach, acclaimed Georgia coach for many, many years. Eddie's accomplishments are many, but what made him special was his ability to inspire his teammates and his love for competition. Always competed in class and great sportsmanship and was an example for all to follow. His mental toughness and tenacity are an example and conversation that I share with our players even today. So many good memories of this guy. We split ping pong until 3 in the morning. Till one of our friends made us start to go out and meet girls and stuff. I've had the recent pleasure of doing that with Houston and Parker, his 2 boys, who are a great testament to his impeccable character as a father. And I've got to know his lovely wife, Robin. So many fun memories with this amazing sport in our lives. I know Eddie probably as well as anyone, and I would say that the only area his talent as a player and coach has exceeded is in his integrity as a sportsman and a father and a friend. Very proud and honored to bring up Ben Jakes.
I saw a couple standing in the back. I think there's some seats up here. If anybody needs a seat up on this table. Maybe I was mistaken.
My wife Robin and I joked, following us, this was pretty darn tough. But Estes, thank you so much for being here. means a ton. Travel a long way, so it means a lot. We talked all day. I was a little bit nervous, just wanting to try to keep it in a little bit. As he starts talking and the floodgates open. I joke on Parker some, our oldest, that ever since he was born, it'll be a Hallmark commercial, and I'm done. I'm done. You see, you watch an ESPN short that's about a special moment, and why are you crying? It's your fault. Kids and stuff. But listen, I just want to say thank you to all the family and friends that have traveled here for this occasion. This is a special moment for me and everyone that came. A special thanks to Penny Summers and the HWTA in Huntsville for going through the process of the nomination, and Penny especially for doing the due diligence that she had to do to be able to stand up here with these guys. I'm very humbled and honored to be here tonight to be here at this induction. A special congratulations to Boo and to Grant for you guys as well. Congratulations. A special thanks also to Jeff. I know he does a lot of work with the ceremony and does a lot of work with the Hall of Fame, and you spend a lot of hours and time, and a lot of this event comes off because of you. Jerry season Alabama tennis. Alabama tennis, when we grew up, we kind of would get, I don't know, not laughed at, but we weren't really middle of the pack yet. And we were at the bottom. And throughout the last 30 years, we're not that anymore, and proud to be a part of that. And, we've grown. We haven't caught Georgia or North Carolina yet, but, with the hard work of that staff, William especially, Jerry, those guys in the Alabama Tennis Association have done such a great job building Alabama tennis to where we're not at the bottom. We're not ninth. We're not eighth. We battle with everybody, and been fortunate to be able to be on the board with Barbara. And I love looking at those numbers and see us. We're not the biggest population state, so we're middle of the pack, which I'm very, very proud of. Are we going to be able to catch Georgia? Hopefully, but we're going in the right direction. And Alabama tennis has been very, very, very. It's going in the right direction, so proud to be a part of that. Also, a little special thanks to hopefully our future governor, our current Huntsville mayor, Tommy and Eula over there. Special story, They very happy they're in the house tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about relationships and connections, and we have a special connection with them as I used to coach a little bit with Tommy, and he used to come to one of our clinics, and eventually years down the line that Tommy and Eula, it's a great story now, and eventually in 2032 when he becomes president of the United States, it's going to get cooler. But they introduced my wife and I on a blind date, and back then we're like, okay, but now he's the mayor, and hopefully be governor, and so the story gets cooler and cooler, so keep going, and thank you for being here for sure. This journey all began back when I was 3 years old in Gadsden, Alabama. And my parents put that racket in my hand at a very, very young age. They threw me out there and made me play my first tournament at 6 years old. And looking back, it's pretty early. But you don't really get those choices back then. You kind of, okay, we're going to go play some tennis. And, next thing you know, I one tournament after another, all around the state. And I just have to, special thanks to my mom and my dad for spending the time just to be able to give me the ability to succeed. Countless hours on the road, traveling, and sacrifices you guys made for for me to excel with the talent that God gave me. So thank you guys. I would not be here without you. You know, after all the years of playing and doing this, come to the realization that tennis, a lot of times, it's not about keeping score. It's not about winning or losing. It's about these relationships that you create and the connections that you have with people. And it starts with Estes, who talked. You know, he brought up that he came from Dayton, Ohio, and his family came, and it's all about tennis, and it was 30 years ago. And he joked about playing ping pong, and we just did that 6 weeks ago at your mom's house in Florida. Like, it's just, it doesn't matter what the score was, it doesn't matter that, you know, yes, we were able to win a title, but we'll be 75 and battling the ping pong room and talking about it and still talking trash with each other. You know, other connections, you know, Kevin is sitting right here. Kevin Sessions, a roommate of mine at school, University of Georgia. We played laser tag or hotel tag when we were 11 years old, running around Corpus Christi, Texas at a national tournament. And just running around, and you have no idea that 30 years later, we're still going to go to football games together, and I'm still going to go to his house, and our kids are going to know each other. We were fortunate enough to win some titles together as well, and won one here at down in Mobile, and won the Southern 18s together. And it kind of doesn't really matter. Thank you, Kevin, for being here. You know, these additional connections and just family and relationships that you have, you know, Rusty Walker from Coleman, his family, took a job with us about 6 years ago, and what a special family they are. He works with us at the club, and got to see his kids grow up, and even though he's younger, I honestly look at him as a mentor to me. I ask him for advice, and the connection is all because of the sport. And his family is impeccable. They're just wonderful, wonderful people. Another connection that we have together is Allie Clayton. She won the Elaine Francis Character Award this afternoon at the luncheon. We both coach her together, and we've traveled to tournaments and had some wins and losses. And the coolest thing about Allie is my kids call her a big sister. I read the text that she sent both of my boys the other day. It had nothing to do with tennis. How she looks at them as little brothers. Doesn't have anything to do with the yellow ball. I'm just so lucky to have these relationships. And tennis is what created these lifelong relationships. And I would trade all the wins, and especially the losses, for these relationships to never go away. So some of the things that, you know, that Estes talked about is what I've done in the sport of tennis. But tonight, for me, is a way for me to say thank you to the sport for what tennis has blessed me with. Thank you so much.
There you go, and you got the mayor here. We have a nice plaque for Eddie. I'll have your picture made later with this. Thank you, Eddie.